Hey guys, Sean, LL4D for Dummies. So I made my first mistake. Well, not my first mistake, of course. Moving along with modifications to my Hdr50, I thought I had a 1mm drill bit. I did not. To drill the CO2 restrictor. What I had was a 1.5mm. So, because I'm not a patient person, I decided to drill 1.5mm. It farts. Why does it fart? It's probably just this marker. You know, there are hundreds, thousands of these out there, and many hundreds of YouTube videos that show 1.5mm doesn't fart. I know I have read some having experienced the farts with 1.5, so it does exist. It probably is likely due to, like I've said a million times before, variances. The spring tension in this was probably made in China, and springs are pumped out by the thousands, so could be some small difference. But in any case, tuning barrel, 12.7mm ball bearings, 1.5mm drilled CO2 restrictor, 12 gram CO2. And what I'm gonna just do a kind of demonstration today is what I was finding when I was testing, and that was using CO2, of course. As I was adding extensions, I was actually losing power. Now, that could be due to some of the bore sizing, which I will touch on, because this Hdr50 tuning barrel, I did a video and said, yeah, heck, 12.7mm balls go through it. Well, actually, Florian contacted me after and said that the new tuning run for these, they are honed slightly larger and do accept 12.7mm ball bearings. This extension that comes with it also takes the 12.7mm ball bearings. This sniper extension that I have, I can blow it through, but it doesn't drop through. Now what I want to do is test this extension back to back with this one and see what the difference in velocity is. And if it is what I think it is, that extra, the little bit tighter of bore this is, because this is a revolver, what's happening is that compression is actually blowing back out the cylinder, and I'm losing like significant velocity. Please disregard the first shot's gonna fart more than likely. It has in all my behind the scenes stuff, so but it still should show that CO2, well, it might not be the best setup to be adding extensions in this particular marker. This might be, if you're going for power, HB is probably the best way to go. And then you know what? I'll toss in my HDP50 and show you the difference in the efficiency in that marker in CO2, because that thing is a hammer with I mean, they're essentially the same markers inside it, besides the loading system. This loading system is open, and the HDP50 has more of an enclosed system just by the nature of its assembly. So let's go. Did I put a CO2 in? Probably not. No. First error of the day. I also got to get more 12 grams. I'm down to like 1 or 2 left. All right, try that again. Long shoot. 8.4 grams. Hey, it didn't fart, of course. 216. 214. You know, guys, I'll just put it out there. I'm at a loss for words, honestly. I have put probably 20, 30 CO2s through this thing now, and it was farting. And now it's not. Go figure. 226. Shouldn't have talked. I should have just kept firing. 218. 210. 212. Actually, it was pretty consistent. And I probably had another mag in there. But before I jump into the extensions, let me go grab my HDP50 and I'll just show you the difference. So my HDP50 is set up with a tuning barrel as well. Hang on. Okay, so this is my HDP50. It has a Home Defense 24 tuning barrel that I honed to accept 12.7 millimeter ball bearings. It has the magnet modification, and you can see it still has some problems cycling. 12.7 millimeters, they don't do so good in this. It takes some work. It does fire fine once it's charged up, but when you're kind of dry firing, the trigger does bind up. This is set up for HBA, but this doesn't adding any power to my CO2 setup. This is just a plug. I know it's hard to see in there, but so this just plugs the end, and this is actually threaded in there into the air valve quite far, so it's actually acting more like a valve block. Charge up. On a good day, this usually shoots about 260, 270. 264. 242. 208. She loses power fast. That's a big chamber to fill. 190. 190. Obviously there's no CO2 restrictor in this. This does have a CO2 restrictor, so it's not apples to apples, but I did fire this restrictor list, and I think I was like 230, 234, I think is what I hit. So you can see this HDP did do better than the HDR. That's just a short comparison. So I think if you were going to build, if you're trying to build something compact, I think I would choose the HDP50. I mean, size-wise, yeah, of course. I know that's not the best showing of, but we all know the HDP it's a more compact launcher. All right, reloaded, 12 gram CO2, and I'll put on the tuning barrel extension. So we're like 218-ish. We saw 226 when I jabbed too much. Let's see what it does. $236. 228. 260. 162. Interesting how it wasn't as consistent on that CO2. 198. 162. Like, it literally lost power like crazy. Still had, yeah, about the same amount of shots left. But is that tuning run eating up compression? So, I mean, we want compression, but there's no seal here. So that extra CO2 that it's, as it's trying to expand, is just blowing out your drum here. 236 is a hot shot. All right, I'll load it up again. New 12 gram. This time I'm going to use the Sniper extension. A 12.7 millimeter does fit through my Sniper extension, but it's tighter than the tuning barrel extension. This one I have to blow through. Okay. 236 was the high on the extension, on the tuning barrel extension. $214. $170. $192. $190. $138. $182. The point here was, and he misses. Bore sizing in an Hdr50 is very important because if it's on the tight side, you saw that's quite a significant drop from running the tuning barrel. But I think the bigger issue here is that extra pressure that you're hoping to achieve by adding a longer barrel and CO2 is really just being wasted out the drum. Now, everybody builds these HBA. HBA is obviously has an infinite amount of air to supply to your marker, depending on the size of your tank. It is super stable, non-diminishing, so you probably wouldn't detect that loss on a shot-to-shot basis. My recommendation, and only my recommendation, if you're going for power, if you're building one of these for power, if you're choosing the HDR, you must go HBA and make it more into a rifle type carbine build. If you're going for compactness, the HDP50 is definitely more efficient, definitely makes more efficient use of CO2. Would it also make a great carbine rifle build? Absolutely. Does it shoot shape projectiles? No. Yes. There are pros and cons to both of them, I guess is what I'm saying. But I think moving forward myself, and this is why I do all these kind of dumb tests. Do I want to keep it a pistol or do I want to build it a rifle? I really wanted to keep this CO2. Regardless of the problem I had when I drilled the restrictor and had farts, and clearly now it's not farting. So I maybe just try and go restrictorless? Nah. HBA it is. This one is going to be some form of rifle platform by the time I'm done. Hope this information is helpful. Like, subscribe, share. See you on the next one.